Hey everybody, my name's Chris, and I came to you in a few other videos and told you about how I won $1 million playing fantasy football on FanDuel.com. Now, what we're going to do this week is talk about Week 1. We're going to highlight some teams you want to look at to choose your players from, because as we talked about in the past videos, we go from the Vegas odds, we narrow it down to teams, and then from those teams we pick players. That's the method I use to win first place and win that $1 million. That's what I want you to try. Now keep in mind, we're going to have some fun, do some silly things, but the information presented here in this video is no laughing matter and nothing to joke about. So pay attention, take some notes, and let's get down to the kitchen for some cooking.
Hi everyone, I'm Sally, and I'm here with... What's up with your hat?
You don't like it?
No, Chef Ramsay, it looks like a giant turd.
Oh, well, I think I have something else. Let me look, and I'll see what I have. I got something here. Yeah, this will really do the trick. Okay. Here we go. Better?
Mushroom.
Yes.
Anyways, Chef Ramsay comes from a long line of bakers, and you could say they're, inbred. Anyways,
Bread's awesome.
yeah. Awesome. Mushroom.
That's right.
Anyways, Chef Ramsay's here to talk about the ingredients of the week to make a great chef.
Well, what it takes to make a great chef, you could say what it all boils down to is beating your competition like the eggs they are, and getting on the cutting edge of recipes and finding out exactly what you need to make the perfect pot. Wouldn't you say, Sally?
That's spicy.
It sure is. Well, see, whether you're Italian or not, you want to make a pretty penne. Penne? Pini? Panini? A pretty something. You want to get some money. You want to get your pot full. So what we're here to do this week is talk about the teams and players that you want to select. Isn't that right, Sally? Sally is overwhelmed with enthusiasm at the moment. Okay, so what we do is we have some recipes that you'll see have a high accuracy. It's so high, it's high. So what you're going to do, you might say it's as high as Sally. But I think you just squashed my toe. Anyways, these lineups, you'll see they have a stupendous amount of accuracy in terms of the players that you're using. Instead of looking at players though first, we're looking at certain games. Because as you know, we go by the Las Vegas odds. And what we do from that is we do the math as noted in previous videos, and we select some specific teams, or teams from games. So we're looking at those without further ado. So first,
Put them on the chopping board.
Chopping board's right here. It's a little full right now. But that's an excellent idea. So, we're looking at some games. Among the games are the Buccaneers at the Saints. We're looking at the Texans at the Patriots. We're looking at the Steelers at the Browns. We're looking at the 49ers at the Vikings. We're looking at the Chiefs at the Chargers. And we're looking at the Jaguars at the Giants. So first, let's take a look at the Saints, Sally.
So putting all the ingredients into the mixing bowl, what are we going to put in first?
Well, first we're looking at the Saints game. The Buccaneers are going to play the Saints, Sally.
Oh, so there's going to be some Alvin Kamara in there.
There could be some Alvin Kamara, but what we want to pay attention to is the Buccaneers defense. It hasn't done anything to improve, and it was ranked dead last in the league last season. So without making any improvements, and the fact that Mark Ingram is now suspended for the first 4 games, Alvin Kamara has to carry the load for the first time ever all by himself at running back. So, considering the fact that the Buccaneers were last against the pass, why not look at some Michael Thomas, maybe some Ted Ginn, maybe even some Cameron Meredith? That could be a big play.
Yeah, you can't get that anywhere else, huh?
I don't think you can, Sally.
With all that in the mixing bowl, what's next up on the chopping block?
Well, we're looking at the Texans and the Patriots, Sally.
Smells like Rob Gronkowski.
It might. What we want to do is pay attention to this game with extra caution, because last season this game exploded for points. Be assured that Deshaun Watson And DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller, if he plays, are going to be high percentage players, meaning a lot of people will choose them. That's usually not safe, so we might want to avoid them. But on the other hand, the Patriots haven't done anything to improve their defense, and their offense may have gotten worse because they don't really have that many receivers. So Rob Gronkowski would be a good bet in this game. That's definitely somebody we want to keep an eye on. But with that in mind, we're also going to want to be brewing up something from another contest.
All this has my belly feeling like this is a Yumkowski lineup thingy.
I think it is, Sally. My belly feels like it needs to go to the bathroom right now. But we want to look at the Steelers and the Browns.
Speaking of Browns, we got Antonio Brown.
That's true, although he is a Steeler.
Oh, he'd have to be.
But one thing we wanted to talk about with the Steelers is just that, Antonio Brown. The Steelers haven't done anything really to improve their team on the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball. So with that in mind, is Antonio Brown really a good bet? This is where we want to consider the inverse rule that I talked about before. What that means is, although Pittsburgh's favored to win and they're one of the top scoring teams, I may think that there may be an upset here, Sally. I may think that.
Do you think that?
I may. So what might happen here is the Browns might win the game. But if they don't win the game, don't expect a huge game from the Steelers. Antonio Brown, he's going to get his, but he may not be worth it for the amount of money he costs to put in your lineup. You might want to be looking at some of the Browns. Maybe the tight end, David Njoku. His name, impossible to say and spell, but he's a solid play because Tyrod Taylor used to favor his tight end all the time. I'm rhyming, Sally. That was not intentional.
You're regular Dr. Seuss.
I certainly have the hat for it. I just think that Tyrod Taylor at the quarterback is a safe bet in terms of the production you can expect. Not necessarily to play, but David Njoku as tight end with Josh Gordon and Jarvis Landry outstretching the field, that's somebody you want to watch. With Le'Veon Bell, there's no telling if he's going to play or not. He's been holding out for money. He may play, he may not. If he plays, he's not going to be someone you want to play. If he doesn't play, this is going to hurt the Steelers also. There's always the Juju Beans as well. But that's another story.
Those jumping beans.
I know. Sometimes they're just so yummy.
The more you eat.
We can put a hint of flavor in these recipes also, Sally.
Oh, a hint? How do we do that?
Well, we're going to throw in some Vikings.
Oh my goodness, you know how I like those Vikings. Not the little blue ones though, right?
No, they're purple.
Oh, imagine that.
And gold.
Oh.
So we're looking at the Vikings. You're focused on me like I'm a Viking, Sally.
I just wanted to make sure everybody knew how to focus.
That's excellent preparation.
I know. Anyway, so now that we're on that means that Dalvin Cook is going to be participating somewhere in this stew we got going on.
Oh, he might cook up something special, but it's not guaranteed. The reason for that...
Cook.
That is pretty clever. I'm glad you thought of it.
You thought of it.
I did?
You just said it.
Oh, interesting.
Anyways, go ahead.
Dalvin Cook's returning from injury. He blew out his knee and he hasn't played in a while. But he had a big performance as a rookie for the few games that he got to play last season. However, Kirk Cousins is the new quarterback. The 49ers are always competitive. They could win the game, maybe not, who knows. But Kirk Cousins also strongly favored. I noticed there's a fly flying around.
I guess I could smell the flavor already coming.
We must be cooking up something special. The flies are coming in from everywhere, Sally.
I could smell what you're cooking.
I told you I had to use the bathroom. I didn't have time to take a bathroom break.
Beans, the more you eat.
The Juju Beans, yes.
Anyways.
But, Dalvin Cook, playing with caution. Let's look at Kyle Rudolph. Kirk Cousins favors his tight end very, very much. Now, although Diggs and Thielen will be stretching the field, this is the same concept from the Browns-Steelers game. It's going to leave Rudolph in the middle. Kirk Cousins always goes to his tight end. He's a favorite. Always remember that. Kyle Rudolph, a name to watch this week, Sally.
If you can't remember it, Rudolph the no-no.
The no-no? He had a red nose.
But if you're saying that he's a favorite player and you're telling people not to pick him, he's the Rudolph the no-no player.
No, Rudolph is the one we want to pick. Rudolph is not the one we wanted to pick. We want to be cautious of Dalvin Cook. Rudolph is who we wanted. His nose, you can remember, like you were saying, he has a red nose, almost as red as your wig, Sally.
Or as red as your toadstool.
That's very, very true. Another team that we want to be looking at is the Los Angeles Chargers.
So that means Melvin Gordon is going to be all up in the shebang.
He could very well be in the shebang. That could happen. I like Melvin Gordon this week. I also like Keenan Allen. Both of them could have huge performances. Don't forget Phillip Rivers. The Chargers are going to be a much improved team this season. Don't you agree, Sally?
Yeah, I lost my pun.
It's okay. We have a pun in the oven behind us. So, there's no... Oh, the oven's over there. It's somewhere. Anyways, continuing on. Keenan Allen and Melvin Gordon are good picks this week. Remember, Phillip Rivers really liked to go to his tight end quite often. However, Hunter's out. He's injured. Antonio Gates is back in. He's about 75 years old. He's not going to put up much production. We want to look at Allen. We want to look at Gordon. That's something you want to focus on. And don't forget that sneaky Charger defense.
So after we're done with all of that, you know, Browning and Gordoning and all that stuff, we got the final preparations of things that, you know, we got to put into the bowl, right?
That's right. You never want to forget the Jaguars. The Jaguars are a sneaky team.
Oh, this is Panthers.
That's a Panther, but they came in the same year as the Panthers.
They're still cats.
They are. So the Jaguars came out of nowhere. Not many people could see them coming, but I did see them coming. And now everybody's aware of them.
Don't put that in there.
That's not what you said last night.
I did say that last night because you were so pissed about this morning.
That's true. So the Jaguars came out from nowhere last season. Not many could see it coming, but I did see it coming, Sally. I saw it coming from a mile away. You might see it coming too, but that's another story. One thing to keep in mind is now everybody's aware of Leonard Fournette and the Jaguars. But don't you think that the Giants are as well? They're going to be stacking the box. Now nobody believes in Blake Bortles. It's week 1. Everyone's saying trade for Bridgewater, do this, do that, don't play Blake. I'm not necessarily saying play Blake, but I am saying watch out for Keelan Cole at wide receiver, watch out for Jenkins at tight end. One of those guys, if not both, are going to have some big plays. They're going to be worth it for the value. Do not sleep on them. They're vital. You don't want to sleep when you're in the kitchen and you're cooking, Sally.
They're coming.
They're up and coming, that's for sure.
It's time.
What time is that?
That's a spice.
Oh,
Pistachio.
that's true. It's a pistachio?
You're a pistachio.
I am a pistachio.
No,
Some
you're
days.
a mushroom.
I'm a mushroom. A mushroom that's up and coming. No?
Up and coming.
Up and comings. So, with that in mind, those are some of the main teams that we're looking at.
So now that we've pulled everything out of the oven and we have this nice lineup aroma filling up our brains and our lungs and our wallets,
Yes.
you know, what do we got?
Well, we want to pay close attention to these teams that we talked about. It's very important. In all seriousness, the Saints, the Patriots, the Chargers, the Vikings, the Jaguars, the Steelers, or the Browns, we really want to watch these teams. These are the teams that are going to comprise the winning lineup, whoever gets first place. Maybe it's you, maybe it's me. But when you go and you scroll up,
Maybe it's me.
maybe it is. Maybe it's you, Sally.
It's not, but maybe.
Your time is now.
My time.
Yes. So, when you go and look at the number 1 lineup in that Millionaire Maker, and you look at the players, you're going to see what teams do those players come from. Now, I've given you some players to look at. It could be those players, it could be another player on the team, but I'm giving you the teams to pick from. Look at those teams and pull from those. Look at the stats. Go back and look at last season. Some of this is going to fall onto you. But when you look at that number 1 lineup and you see those players, you're going to see what teams they're from. And you're going to notice that we just talked about those teams. So it's very, and it's,
We just cooked it out.
we cooked it up, we put it in the pot, and now you have to pull it out and serve yourself. This is self-serve. You serve yourself, right, Sally?
No lazy bums here.
There are no lazy bums, only full bums here. That's what it's about. making the right decisions, the right choices. Now, who are we looking at for this week's James Jones Hoodie Strings Lock of the Week? Hoodie strings, there's 2 hoodie strings in a hoodie, right?
I suppose so.
So that means we need to look at 2 players. Now, we've talked about those 2 players. Both of the players I'm going to give you are tight ends. Kyle Rudolph for the Vikings, David Njoku.
Rudolph the Red-Nose. I guess he's now a yes, yes.
He is a yes, yes.
I was wrong.
That's very rare that happens, Sally.
I know. It bothers me too.
Yes. So.
No, it doesn't. It bothers him more.
Does
When
it?
he's wrong.
It just makes my mushroom shrivel up.
It does.
So, we want to look at Kyle Rudolph at tight end for the Vikings. Oh, Sally, are you okay down there? Did the smell of the aroma just infect your lungs? So Kyle Rudolph, you want to watch him at tight end for the Vikings.
Remember, Rudolph the Red-Nose. Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I was wrong.
Okay. That other part that you said is going to make it in the video, though. So,
That one too.
so
But
besides Kyle Rudolph, we want to look at David Njoku for the Browns. The James Jones lead pipe lock hoodie strings James Jones lock of the week. 2.
what he said.
Kyle Rudolph, David Njoku. Watch those 2 players. That's what we want to cook this week.
So, now that my belly's full of all this information, what do you say we hand it back to the studio?
So with all that in mind, let's remember the Saints, the Patriots, the Vikings, the Chargers, the Steelers, and the Jaguars. That's the teams we want to look at. Those are the games that we want to look at. There is that inverse factor where not all the time the team that's favored to win does win, but those games seem to hold true that they are the higher scoring games and the players come from those games. So while the Steelers may be favored against the Browns, what could happen is you see big time players coming from the Browns and not the Steelers. And those other games we mentioned, they can come up there also. So you want to keep that in mind when you're choosing your lineups. The main thing is when you go back and look at who wins first place at the end of the day on Sunday, look at those players, look at the teams they're from, and then compare them to the notes we took here today and everything I mentioned. That's what's important, and that's what I want you to see. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Please subscribe. I'll help you out every week as best I can. Who knows, maybe that one week I'll give you that little tidbit of insight, that one player that you didn't think of. Until next time, I'm out.